Right, YouTube, it's Mr. Mean. I had to reshoot this video because my wife was coming in downstairs and needed some help, and I hit the wrong button, and I wind up killing the video, and so I have to reshoot everything all over again. Happens. So I'm changing the format up. This is going to be a video du jour of a bunch of different stuff. But we're going to go through some RPG stuff. We're going to go through some miniature wargaming stuff and some hobby tips. So bear with me. It's going to be a long video. Skip to the sections you want, I guess. I don't put footnotes in there or whatever. This is what I got in this month's December's Dungeon Crate, and I was already going through it when the video crashed or whatever. So anyway, we'll go back through it again, and it'll be like we never stopped. So this month's crate was, again, I don't know, for $30, I was uninspired. I've already canceled my membership. I've gone back to RPG Crate because I've been watching their videos of people doing them, and they look like they're getting a little more bang for their buck, and that's what I want. But that being said, this was not a disappointing crate. It just wasn't everything I wanted. But it had some cool stuff in it, and it definitely kept the theme of December and, of course, Christmas or Yule or whatever you want to call it. We have an adventure for Dungeons & Dragons, 5th edition for 4 to 5 characters of level 5 to 6, adventureaweek.com. This is a mini dungeon by Brian Wyborg, and it's the Abandoned Shrine. So it gives you a little adventure. So that's cool to have. Everything that comes in the Dungeon Crate, plus a code to go in there and download everything. I've bagged on these gamer badges in the past, but this one I think is legit because it requires a little effort on players, and I think players, as a GM for many years, I think players need to put a little effort into their game. So if you were to sew this onto a jacket or your dice bag or your your gaming box, and you brought it to a game session, I would allow you to use this, because what this is this is the D20 Gamers Badge, and what it says is rolled a 20. If you have ever rolled a critical when it really counted, you have earned the roll a 20 badge. Lucky you. Bearer of this badge may re-roll 1d20 for any reason once per game session per month. I would let a player do this. I think this is kind of cool. If you take the effort to glue this to your dice bag or sew it onto your gamer, some gamers have a gamer vest that they wear to cons or whatever, or your lanyard or whatever, I would allow you to use that. So I thought that was pretty cool. The other thing was we got a Krampus from Reaper. This is basically a beast man Santa Claus. And like the horror movies, Krampus, you got it. It's a miniature. It's nothing amazing, but it's cool. It's nice. As a GM, I can always use another beast man. The other thing that I thought was really cool in here is we got tree ornaments. You can see there's a little hole right there. And that's an axe with mistletoe on it, which I thought was kind of cool. These are Christmas tree ornaments. And with a newborn son coming here any day now for his first Christmas, we're going to tie these and put these on the tree, and I think it'll be awesome. The other one was a dragon wearing a Santa Claus hat with a little smirk on his face. Again, fits in the theme. I like it. And they're acrylic, they're durable, they're not going to break real easy. And then, of course, the ever classic D20 die with the 20 showing up. So super cool. The other thing that I thought was really neat is this came from Nord Games, and it was the Game Master's Toolbox. Last month and the month before, we had critical fails and critical successes, individual cards that do different things, or damage cards. This time, they've given us the Lucky Deck. This is 52 cards, standard playing card size. You could put these in sleeves if you wanted to. There's a little rule book on how to use it. But what's neat here, and what I really liked, is you get 20 or 25 cards, 24 cards, whatever it is, of critical failures and critical successes. And what happens here is when a player, the way you use these, when a player rolls a d20 and they get a critical success, they get to draw a card from the deck and they can use it whenever. If they roll a 1, they get to draw 1 from the critical failure table and they get to use it. The GM gets to use it. This card goes to me as the GM, and I get to use it to hose them or do whatever needs to be done to move the story along. This is a very similar concept to the adventure cards that are in Savage Worlds that a lot of their settings use. So kind of liked it, thought it was pretty cool. I would allow the players, per the rules in here, it says that only the player who rolled the critical 1 or critical 20 is the one that gets to draw and use the card. And you're supposed to use the critical 1 card on that player, at a later date or whatever. I think it should go either way. And that's what I'm going to allow my players to do. I've already informed them that we're going to use those. So that was this month's Dungeon Crate. Not inspired, not for $30. It really just wasn't. I mean, there's nothing in here. Once you take out all the cardboard packaging material that they put in here, it's pretty slim. So I was thoroughly, I don't want to say unimpressed. I did like the contents. I just don't think it was worth the bang for the buck. Now, this was left on my doorstep today. This is RPG Crate. And I've done a number of videos on these, and I switched because I was unhappy with the contents they gave me. In the first 2 crates, I got some old D&D magazines and some 5e 4th edition DCC adventures, which, again, I can use those, but I wanted a little bit more. And in Dungeon Crate, they kind of, their videos were showing that they were getting more, and so I swapped. And then right after I swapped, they started getting really cool T-shirts and stuff. So it's a 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I don't know what's in here. I haven't opened this, so we're going to open this together and see what's in here. So I can tell you right off the bat, we've got a T-shirt, which again I'm down with. So we've got our RPG Crate presents Dungeons Deep. Thanks for being an RPG Crate member. This is the last crate of the year, and we're taking you deep into the bowels of a dungeon with some odd, old-school exploration. Can your character survive? Be sure to search everything in your crate, or you might miss something awesome. Got questions? And you can email them. And then it goes into a list of everything that's in here, which we're going to go through it. Now, the cool thing I like about these crates is you tell them what size T-shirt you want. I'm a big guy, and I wear 2XLs. And so I got a cool T-shirt. And I think for $30 a month, you can at least afford to put a T-shirt in there. And this says Eastgate Fortified Brewery, Dungeons Deep Ale, Dwarven Stone Smoked. So very cool T-shirt. I will wash that, and I will wear that with pride. I think that is neat. So very cool there. That right there made it worth the crate. We've got some sort of, oh, neat. It's a little... it's like a character cheat sheet. It's lightly laminated, so you can write on it. Got some cool art. You got a spot for hit points, current hit points, temporary, death saving throws, your character name, your spell slots, ammunition, and then just notes on the back of it. So that's very handy. I like that. That's very cool. We have a miniature from Effin' Cool Miniatures, and it's some dwarves. Well, let me tell you, I'm getting ready to put together a Frostgrave warband that's going to be all dwarves, because Reaper has a fantastic line of dwarves that I'm going to use, and these will come in quite handy for that. So again, that's good. Now we've got a tube. I don't know what's in the tube. Let us open the tube. If we can get the tube open. Oh, I think it's a poster of some kind. Let's see. It's a dungeon. Put that over here. Very cool. So it is a dungeon. Very neat. It's a full-fledged dungeon, and on the back is the scale for the GM. It tells me everything. So it's a map. Very, very neat. My only criticism there would be I'll probably have to photocopy the back. You don't want to have to flip this over every time you're describing something to the players, and you got to flip it over again so that you can remember what was what. But that's solid, and they put it in a nice tube. Kind of gives it that old school. And I'm dropping everything because I'm a goober. Let's see if we can get this shrunk down enough to get it back in the tube. And we did. Very cool. I have to say, I'm impressed. I like that. the two will come in handy. And then what do we got here? Probably some more of their adventures. Yes, Eastgate Winter Festival. Toady party levels 32, average 8. So this is an adventure. We got a brewery and Dungeons Deep. So again, these are their like one sheets. They're very cool. They're handy dandy for your campaigns or whatever. You can always throw them in as little spots. And then we have it looks like an adventure a week, level 1, Dark Days of Stonehome. Jonathan McNulty, 5e compatible, 4 to 6 PCs, level 1, full color. Again, impressive. I have to say I like that. So I'm always on the look for level 1 adventures for Dungeon Crawl Classic because I run that. So that'll be fun. And of course, the ever awesome Pluck Foam. I have gotten good use out of this. So if you are a subscriber to Dungeon or RPG Crate and you think this is just padding, it's not. It's actually Pluck Foam. You can see it pulls apart. You can set what size you want, and I use it in that little case of mine for my miniatures, and it works fantastic. So overall, a very good RPG Crate this month. This feels more like it. This is a high quality, high gloss book. It's about 34 pages. It's got some ads in it in the back. So yeah, adventureaweek.com. These, like I said, are usually pretty flavorful and very much a dwarven theme on this one. I like the little card. I like the miniatures, and I'll go through here. Doesn't appear to be any code on this one. So again, very cool. And the t-shirt is Pimpalicious, if I can say that word. And I love the t-shirt. It's very cool. Nice gaming t-shirt. And again, dwarven theme, so I kind of dig it. So that's this month's RPG Crate. So I have to say I'm a lot happier with that than I was the Dungeon Crate. So I think I'm going to stick with RPG Crate for a while. We won't get another one until after the new year, which is okay. The next part of this video, I wanted to talk about a couple videos back. I had gone back and talked about RPG or role-playing games versus miniature games and the gateway between them. Such games as like Descent, Conan, the new Conan board game, which I did a video on. You can go back and watch that. And of course, the Descent Journeys into Legend, Hero Quest, those old games. Frostgrave. I did a nice video review for Frostgrave in which I talk about the boundaries or the gap that's being closed between role-playing games and miniature games. And Frostgrave was like really caught my attention in that. Well, this just came out. Rogue Stars by Osprey. The miniatures are done by North Star. They ran a successful Kickstarter, and they just delivered everything. And I got this off of Amazon for like $12. It retails for $19 in the US, but I pre-ordered it on Frostgrave on my Amazon Prime account, and I got it on the 20th, which was the day it was released to everybody else. And I gotta say, pretty awesome. You can go to ospreygames.co.uk. You can go to their website and download a bunch of stuff for it. I think the author already has a bunch of errata out. This one is even better than Frostgrave in bridging that gap between role-playing games and miniature games. This is pretty much, in my opinion, this is a sci-fi version of 4th edition D&D. If anybody remembers 4th edition D&D, you had to use miniatures to keep track of everything, and it was a role-playing game. Well, this is pretty much the same thing. You have rules in here to create your warband, which is only 4 to 6 models, which I think is awesome. Even if you're not a painter or a hobbyist, and you can buy some pre-done, you can use 40K miniatures, you can use any sci-fi miniatures, any of your, if you've got sci-fi board games that have miniatures, you could use those, and you pick out the stat lines that you want. You create a little small warband of 4 to 6 models, and then you go in and you do it. The only die you need is a D20, This gives you all the rules that you need to do combat and generate scenarios, and basically, for lack of a better word, an adventure. But they're scenarios, and then if you accomplish the goals of that scenario, you get money and experience, and then you use that experience and or money to better equip your characters and to also level up your character. So there's there's a plethora of missions in here, and you just basically do that. I mean, there's 4 pages of missions, and then we go into environments that will affect the missions, space wrecks, collateral damage for ships, containers, even rules for NPCs, and then rules for creating your squad. The art is pretty much that standard. It's slightly cartoonish, full color, very well done. If you were looking for a gateway game into miniatures, where you weren't maybe a painter and you wanted to try them out, but you didn't have a lot of money, and this is the way to go. 4 to 6 miniatures is all you need. You can use board game pieces, and I mean you need a ruler and a D20 and some terrain, which most local game stores will have it. So if you're looking to bridge that gap, if you're a role player and you want to try a miniatures game, but you don't want to give up all the role playing, or if you're a miniatures gamer and you want to try a little bit of role play, light role play, this is a good way to go. This is phenomenal. The author, Andre, and I can't even say his last name, it's right there in the bottom of the book, super, super nice guy. He's very prolific on the Facebook page for Rogue Stars. If you just do a search for Rogue Stars, he's on there, and he answers questions. So if you read the book and you have a question or you're not quite sure about a rule, he's already working on an errata. I have not been to the Osprey website yet, but I know they have a section up on their forums that will have all the errata and everything. He's already stated as much. So, man, get it. It's super cool. I can't wait to finish reading it and get a game in. The Houston area Frostgrave players is a loose group of guys. They're nice enough. Some of them have come down here to Beaumont to play Frostgrave with me, and I've gotten in 3 games of Frostgrave so far, and they've all been fantastic. And I really, really love the game because it's not so intense like 40K or Warzone or any of the other, high model or large model count games. And it's sci-fi. My heart lies in sci-fi. I love fantasy, but if I can play a sci-fi miniatures game, I'm going to play it. So definitely jonesing to get back in to get a game of this in here real soon. I don't even have any models put together for it yet, but I'm going to put together some rangers, some space rangers or space cops, and we're going to go bounty hunting. I'm going to kill some bad guys. So I'm really looking forward to it. You really set your party up. You can have psionics, you can have aliens, you can have robots. It's got everything in here for a little bitty page. I don't even know what the page count is here. We're looking at 64 pages. I mean, 64 pages, and they cover everything in here. So pretty damn awesome. So I just wanted to throw a shout out to Rogue Stars and Osprey for putting out a cool book. If you're into sci-fi miniature games, this is definitely one you want to give a try. You get experience, you get loot. Definitely give it a shot. Next thing I want to do is there's a guy on YouTube called Kablam. That's what his channel is called. And he's been doing a bunch of Frostgrave videos. And I wanted to say thank you because I've really enjoyed your Frostgrave. He's running a campaign right now where he's invited everybody else to jump in. I don't get to play enough to where I feel that I could contribute anything to his campaign. But it's really cool that he's doing it, and I like his videos. But one of the things that I noticed, and this is just a little hobby tip, and I'm sure other people have already told him, but he had cut out the spell cards, which you can download off of Osprey's site for free. And there's various other ones out there. And he put them in some real cheap, like penny sleeves. And he made the comment about they're a little flimsy. But I mean, it's great to have them. And he's right. It is. It's great to have your cards. You don't have to flip through the book. But if you go on the Osprey forums and you look around, you'll see there's a number of people that have done their own Frostgrave cards. Now, here's mine. Somebody did these, and I'm sorry, I don't know the name. But they're in full color and they're color coded. This one is a witch. Purple is for the summoner. They've each got their own color. Orange is for the elementalist. So they've all got their own color. But what I wanted to point out, and this is the cards for my Necromancer. I only have one warband right now. I plan to do another one. He did the cheap penny sleeves, and for a couple pennies more, $1 more, you can buy some nice Magic sleeves. And if you know, he games at a local game store, I think they're gonna sell these. He's gonna be able to get them. He's in Europe, I believe, somewhere in the UK. But these are the decent sleeves. They're pretty rugged, and they've got a cool image on the back. So for Frostgrave, it kind of fits. But what I did, and my tip to him is, get some old trading cards. Doesn't matter if you're not using them for the trading card game that you're playing and you don't really need them. You're not throwing them away. They're just sitting around collecting dust. I did the same thing you did. I just printed them off. Of course, I had a full color, and so I printed mine in full color. And then you just put that extra card in there, and then you put it in your sleeve. And this would even work with your cheap penny sleeves. But the point here being, if I can get it back in, is it gives the card a little more flexibility, makes it sturdier, makes it nice when it's sitting on a table. It's easy to pick up. If they're flimsy, sometimes you squish them and then you crinkle them. And if you're a perfectionist like me, that drives you nuts. So anyway, quick tip, just put them in there, put them in a sleeve, throw an extra card, spare card in there. And a lot of times, like I said, at your Magic store, they're going to have the cards, the excess common cards. They don't want to throw them away. They leave them out there, give them to kids when they come in to play or whatever. Or somebody needs a common of a certain card and they don't have it. They might have it there. So anyway, the cheap alternative. Spend a couple of bucks to buy the $10 pack of the nice cards. They even make matte finish plain covers or clear. And then, I just chose these because it's what I had. I didn't have to go buy anything. So that's it. And then if anybody's wondering about my miniatures case, this is all my Frostgrave stuff. I've got the Malifaux rule book in there, the small digest size. My Necromancer, I can't wait to get him painted up. He came with my Nick starter from Osprey. But I did a separate video on this case that connects in here. And then again, I used all that RPG crate pluck foam and put it in here. So in the bottom one, I've got all my dice, or all my, not dice, all my tokens and my cards for Malifaux. Malifaux is a card-based miniatures game. And then the second container is the pluck foam with all my Malifaux miniatures. I've got 3 crews in there. So you can fit a lot in there. And this little case is literally, I think, under $10 at the Dollar Tree or any of your dollar stores. You can buy it directly online from the guys that make it. Go back and watch my video on it. It's a Sterilite. They make it. And it's an awesome little container. And then the last little piece I have for hobbying tips is your Ace Hardware, your Steins, your Home Depot, your Lowe's, any of those stores, your local hardware store. It's going to have something like this. This is a Tactics, Tactix, and it's just it's a toolbox, but it's got mounting points. You can mount it on a wall, and these are great for hobby stuff. You put all your different bases. You put some miniatures in there, spare parts, bits that you're working on. The bigger container spots, you can put your pluck foam. You can put some cork, if you got spare cork, that I bought from the hobby store instead of buying it from GW and paying 6 times the price that you should pay. And these little containers actually come out. So there's 101 uses. If you're a hobbyist and you got tons of miniatures and bits and pieces laying around, this thing is indispensable. Once we get moved into our new house and I have a dedicated hobby room, I'm going to mount this on the wall right above my hobby bench, and it's where I'm going to keep all my tools and the little things that I need. These are dirt cheap. You can get them like $10-20. I was lucky, got this one free from work because they were going to throw it out. So it worked out for me. So anyway, that's today's video du jour. I hope you found something useful and helpful in it. I just wanted to get it out there. It's going on 25 minutes. I want to keep it kind of short. We covered a lot of stuff, but I do appreciate everybody liking and subscribing. And as always, be nice.